Welcome along to another MiTunes podcast right here at manxradio.com.
Mark Tiley, the nation's station, Manx Radio.
I reckon my MiTunes guest this week, once upon a time, had a proper job. He's a musician, you see, but his proper job was here in the Isle of Man. Ian Prowse, welcome to MiTunes. You weren't born here, were you?
No, it's the only real job I've ever had.
Working in Summerland?
Was working in Summerland, looking after the kids on the bouncy castles.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Was it a summer season or...?
What it was a guy I knew from school was coming over here to do something similar, and I needed money for my first amplifier. I needed a few £100. And he said, if you come with me, I can get you working on the fair in Summerland. And then you can save the money. And so I said to him, I was only 17. So I said to my mum and dad, I'm an only child. So it was the first time I was leaving home. And I said, I'm going to go and earn some money because I'm going to be a musician. And they kind of looked at me like, yeah, you'll end up in the factories like the rest of us. It helps me a port. And off I came. So I spent an entire summer here. And the second that I got enough money for the amplifier, I went home, bought the amp, and I've never had a job since.
Do you remember what amplifier it was?
Yes, Laney K50B.
Hey.
Yeah, with reverb.
Yeah, built in.
Yeah.
Hey, built in.
Yeah.
So at that stage, you went back, and did you put a band together? Did you have a band, or were you going solo?
No, I was in a band, because I'm of the era of the Jam and the Clash and that sort of stuff, where a band as gang is the thing. So that was, I needed to get money for this amp. Then I could, go into the band. I had my my entire crew to start the thing then. And I remember what year it was, because I remember what was on the telly on my 10 minutes off. I'd watch the telly, and I remember Princess Diana's wedding, and it was the Toxteth riots. Because I phoned my mum up at home and said, what's going on? She goes, oh, the whole city's on fire, so it was 1981. So I can time where I was. I haven't forgotten.
No. Those time markers, they do stick.
Yeah.
There are certain events that, especially when you've glimpsed them. I think sometimes when you're away, and if this ever happened to you, you've been away somewhere and you've seen something on the telly and you're not there, that can also print hard in the memory.
Weird, the way the brain works, isn't it?
Just focuses back. Because that was like me with Live Aid. Live Aid happened when I was in Gibraltar. And somebody phoned me up and said, quick, you got to see Queen. Yeah. And we were packing up to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And someone had a little black and white telly, believe it or not. And I managed just to see it.
And you watched the whole thing.
But like that mesmerised.
For us, as our short time here on Earth, these are the pointers to our lives, aren't they? And they're so important. And it always tends to be music as well,
Very much so.
Yeah,
That's true. People may well, I'm sure they do, remember Pele, Amsterdam, bands. Was it your hope that you'd be a band for much longer than before you became a solo artist?
Yeah, as I said, I'm a kid of that new wave period, and I wanted to always be in a band like the Clash. And we did well with Pele. We got a big deal with Polydor, so I did that for the 90s. And then when it kind of ground to a halt, there was no question that I'd then be a solo artist. I want to be in a band. So, and the received wisdom of the music industry at that time was that you would never get signed with your old band name, and it was considered dead in the water. So I formed a brand new band, Amsterdam. And then it took us quite a few years of trying to get somewhere, and we eventually got an indie deal, and I was back in, and then the next decade began. I felt much more comfortable just putting all of the music that I'd written with Pele and Amsterdam and the new music I was written as just under Ian Prowse. And that's kind of what I do now. So Pele, Amsterdam, Ian Prowse, it's all exactly the same thing. I've written all of the songs for all of those vehicles. So I'm comfortable saying that now.
Good man.
Yeah.
Let's have the first choice for this Monday. What's it going to be?
Born to Run. Come on, wake up, everybody.
any particular reason for it?
Bruce Springsteen's my spirit guide and my absolute hero. I even named my 10-year-old daughter after one of his songs, Rosalita. And now she's a little mouthy 10-year-old Scouser. She's challenging me on it. Why am I called Rosalita? And I'm like, you're lucky you weren't called Born to Run, love. Now shut up.
Here it is. Brilliant.
Beyond the palace, semi-powered drones scream down the boulevard. Girls comb their hairs in rear-view mirrors, and the boys try to look so hard. The amusement park rides are full and start. Kids are huddled on the beach in the mirrors. I wanna die with you, Wendy, on the street tonight in an everlasting kiss. The highway's jammed with broken heroes on a last chance power drive. Everybody's out on the run tonight, but there's no place left to hide. Together, Wendy, we can live with the sadness. I'll love you with all the madness in my soul. Oh, someday, girl, I don't know when we're gonna get to that place where we really wanna go and we'll walk in the sun. But till then, tramps like us, baby, we were born to run. Oh, honey, tramps like us, baby, we were born to run. Come on, Wendy, tramps like us, baby, we were born to run.
Yesterday, my MiTunes guest made a very strong reference to The Clash. And I'll break the silence and say today's song will be from The Clash. Ian Prowse, wonderful artist, was over just a week or so ago, one night only, can you believe it? But there you go, got to come back soon. Just how important were The Clash to you, Ian?
Well, the thing about The Clash and all of those bands around that new wave era. I didn't have any musicians in my family, and I didn't have any musical instruments lying around or anything like that. But what inspired me to play music and write songs was these bands, which came out in like 1977, 78, 79, 80. And the reason was because they were conviction musicians. When they wanted to change the world with their guitars. It wasn't about getting famous or making money or pulling boys or girls. It was conviction, and that's me. That's my my background. So I guess there's a long tradition of it with Woody Guthrie and Bob Dylan, but these were my modern day. I felt like I was being remotely schooled by Joe Strummer and Paul Weller and Hugh Cornwell and Ian Jury and all of these great artists, and The Clash were the best at a lot of it.
There was some amazing writing going on as well. I mean, not just the observational stuff, but really, really strong themes in those songs.
Mick Jones as well, great melodies. And they were talking about issues which nobody else was talking about. There's a great song where they talk about mercenaries abroad and armaments and armories being made in this country, but we never spoke about it. Oh, sorry, not this country, obviously, because I'm outside of the UK now.
Technically, yes, you are.
Which is a relief, because it's mad over there at the moment. So you bring into these issues, political issues, which are about what's really going on, because we get told one thing, by our betters and superiors, and there's always another story, and The Clash gave us that.
They certainly did, and it was quite interesting. They probably wouldn't have happened without punk, but they were certainly way moved on from raw punk. That rawness of the actual punk movement almost died the moment it got into the Daily Mirror and the Sun.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
That almost blew it.
Yeah, it did.
And then more substantial things happened.
Well, by the time they got to their third album with London Calling, on that record, there was ska, reggae, old style rock and roll, there's jazz, there's so many influences, and they were such sponges that The Clash could take it in and regurgitate it in their own form. When The Clash did reggae, they were really authentic at it, you know. And a lot of the like Scratch Perry and everywhere, a lot of the black producers and players, they respected the Clash a lot for what they were doing with it.
I think that's a really good point you make there, because the integration, the black and white integration through bands like the Clash and many others, they did cross over everywhere.
Yeah, they did. And then the two-tone explosion and the mod revival and all of that. This was young people making their stand and making their point with conviction. And it was, for somebody like me who's 14, 15, it was just incredibly inspiring. And it's still the energy upon which I run now as a songwriter and a musician.
Well, we'll talk about your songwriting very much tomorrow, but let's have a Clash track. We got to. What's it going to be?
This is Working for the Clampdown, one of my favourite ever Clash songs.
Long. Yeah, I'm working hard in Harrisburg, working hard in Petersburg, working for the clampdown, working for the clampdown. Long, begging to be melted down. And I'll give away no secrets.
Yesterday on MiTunes with my guest Ian Prowse, we talked an awful lot about the Clash because we like them and because they were part of our lives. Both.
Yeah.
I know you're a bit quite a bit younger than me, but never mind. But it was there. It was very much part of the soundtrack. I want to really now talk about your writing.
Okay.
And where it starts, where it stops, how it happens, the process for you, Ian.
Well, as I said yesterday, I come out of conviction. You know, the idea that your guitar can change the world. You know, 3 chords and the truth. So you report what you see and what you feel and what you hear via your guitar, and it's always authentic and with 100% passion. You know, I've never written a song to try and attract money, girls, or fame. It's about communication with my fellow man or woman, you know, and that's how I started off, and that's how I still do it to this day. I often joke on stage that I only write about either trying to change the world or getting dumped. I've experienced in both, but they're both because they come from the heart, and I find that even to this day I can still sing some of my early songs, which we first put out with Pele in 1992. I can sing them with complete passion and joy because the inbuilt into them when I wrote them was complete honesty. So I don't feel embarrassed by any of them, or I don't feel as though I'm sick of doing it. I still enjoy doing it, you know, as much as the new songs.
And the process hasn't slowed down, or has it?
No, it hasn't. That's my thing. I think that my latest music is probably the strongest that I've done. And this is people who support me telling me this, not me going, I'm as good as I've ever been, you know. This is what people are telling me. And we've just been, you know, out on tour with Elvis Costello, and what got us that tour was the quality of the new music. You know, Elvis heard it and went, right, come be our opening act all over the country. So I feel as though I'm at the top of my game artistically, and it's important to be an artistic going concern, because so many artists that I know, some of them, you know, friends or whatever, what they did best was way in the past, and it feels like it's a heritage thing. I don't feel like that.
No. Good man. The Elvis Costello thing, I want to explore that a bit tomorrow, because you met him a long time ago. So we'll talk about that tomorrow, but let's have today's track.
Well, the reason why I've chosen this track today is because it was a real seminal moment for me in my songwriting. I was always okay in the 80s. I was trying to get a band going when I was really young in Liverpool. But when I heard this track, everything fell into sharp focus for me as a songwriter, because I discovered the Celtic soul. And this song is the perfect melding of rock and roll and the Celtic soul.
It is
Fisherman's Blues.
I wish I was a fisherman
chains all hung around me will fall away at last. And on that fine and fateful day, I will take me in my hand. I will ride on a train. I will be the fisherman with light in my head. You in my arms. Woo-hoo-hoo. Light in my head. You in my arms. Light in my head. You. Light in my head. You in my arms. Light in my head.
Yesterday on MiTunes with my guest Ian Prowse, we touched on Elvis Costello. And in fact, you've just finished a pretty hefty tour opening for him.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
And-
All
but-
around the UK.
But you've known Elvis for some time.
I've known him since 2002. We became
Yeah.
friends in 2002. And he asked our band, Amsterdam, to be his backing band on the Jonathan Ross television show. And then he took us out on the ale afterwards. So I can't really remember much of that day. And then we did a duet together on EMI Records for a thing that was going on in Liverpool. Basically, I've done everything. We opened up shows for him. He phoned me up one day and went, I've had a great idea. Amsterdam in Amsterdam. So we opened up for him at the Paradiso. And then he drags me up on stage. But we'd never done a full tour until I sent him the new music that we've been working on. And he said, come on, it's time now. Let's go out together. And he's just been so incredibly generous to me down the years. And he's funny. And he loves to tell a great yarn. So a lot of the times on this tour we've just done, we'd just be sat in one of the dressing rooms and he'd tell me about this, that and the other. And he knows how much I love Bruce Springsteen. So he'd tell me Bruce stories or Bob Dylan stories. And of course, above and beyond all that, his own music has inspired me greatly down the years because he's a conviction singer.
Oh, very
You know
much
what I
so.
mean?
And what an, I'm going to say, a most bizarre emergence from that era that we talked about earlier in the week, because he didn't look the part.
No.
He was writing very different sort of songs, but they were powerful songs.
Yeah, he's
weren't
fearless songwriter. He's a fearless guy. He doesn't care, what he says, considering how incredibly famous he is, and especially in America. He's never jumped through any hoops. He's just Elvis, And I love him, and I owe him a lot. He's a great fella.
Am I on safe ground to say, well, I'll say it anyway, that Pele should have been a whole lot bigger in Great Britain than they were?
Yeah, I think so. Things don't quite work out. You have a bit of bad luck. You have a bit of bad organisation by the record company. You need all of those things to fire off at the same time. We got loads of major record play, with on Radio 1. They put us on the A-list, the first 3 singles. We didn't have much backing from the music press, which probably counted against us because we had a fiddle and they were deeply prejudiced against them, and we didn't drink in the same boozes that all the other bands did. So, but what we did do is we went out on the road and played hundreds and hundreds of gigs, and we went out and toured with the Pogues and Delamitri, and basically a lot of the people who got on board what I call the good ship Prowse got on board during that era, and they're still with me to this day. I developed a relationship with people who like my music, and we've all been on a big journey together, and we've picked up a lot of shipmates along the way, through Amsterdam and Solo and everything.
You've got a great catalogue, and a catalogue in depth in so many ways, and it's there, and it's building all the time. Like you say, you're not stopping, you're keeping moving forward. Is it easier or harder, would you say, for a new artist starting from nothing today to get out there?
Yeah, it's much harder today because you've got the internet. Everybody can proclaim themselves as a singer or a songwriter. All they have to do is put it on their Facebook, musician. Whereas when I started off in the 90s, people would not say that about themselves unless they had a major record deal. So there was like a bar that you had to kind of get up to. Nowadays, it's much more democratic. But I find that it's much better these days because you still have to be really good to rise above the morass of people out there, but you can have a relationship with all of the people who like you. You gather them all together, and you talk to them, and they buy your albums and they come to the shows, and it's much more of an organic thing. Whereas back in the old days, it was a very delineated band fans. Now it's different to that.
Well, here's to you carrying on the great march or voyage forward of the good ship, Prowse.
Yes.
Get it moving forward.
Get on board the ship.
And come back again, because I think this is the first time since 16 years you've been back or something like that.
17 years since we played a show at the Corner House with Amsterdam. So and before that was when I was 17 working here. So I feel as though I'm here confronting my 17-year-old and 40-year-old self. So and you kind of do wonder, what was I thinking then, and who am I now? So I've loved being here.
Well, I hope you get inspiration for a couple of songs about the Isle of Man or something about.
Well, I did my song about Ned Madrill.
Ah,
yeah,
excellent.
Yeah. And in that song, I name a lot of places in the Isle of Man. So and I mentioned Summerland as well. And the great Summerland tragedy, which doesn't get spoken about enough. Right. I thought I'd put that in the song and all.
Good man.
So the Isle of Man is very, very, very dear to my heart, and I'll always come back if you'll have me.
Well, we certainly will. You're welcome back any time. Ian, thank you.
Thank you, pal.
Hey now, little speedy head, the read on the speedometer says you have to go to task in the city where people drown and people serve. Don't be shy, you just deserve. It's only just light years to go. Me, my thoughts are flowers strewn, ocean storm, they bury me. I have got to leave to find my way. Watch the road and memorize this life that passed before my eyes. Nothing is going my way. The ocean is a river's goal. Need to leave, the water knows we're closer now than light years to go. I have got to find the river, Bergamot and Bedford. Run through my head and fall away. Leave the road and memorize this life that passed before my eyes. Nothing is going my way. There's no one left to take the lead, but I tell you and you can see we're closer now than light years to go. Pick up here and chase the ride. The river empties to the tide, fall into the ocean. The river to the ocean goes, a fortune for the undertow. None of this is going my way. There is nothing left to throw
Find the River, the final choice of my guest all this week on MiTunes, Ian Prowse. Find the River by R.E.M. And do check out Ian's solo work with Pele, work with Amsterdam, because there is a wealth of wonderful music waiting for you. I'm Mark Tiley. Come back to me on the morning show, the Shaw Morning Show, if you can, 9:30, Monday to Friday, right here on Manx Radio.